And we are live. Welcome back, Digital Creators, to the Digital Creator Podcast. We're in the studio with Ghostmac. What's up, Ghostmac?
What's good? How are we?
And Ghostmac is a Perth-based hip-hop artist, originally from inland Byron, New South Wales. He was born and raised in Mount Burrell, inland of Byron Bay, before his family moved to Karratha in WA when he was 12. Ghostmac only started making music in 2019, and by 2022, he was already selling out shows with his strong fan base. Ghost is a full-time postman, but in his spare time, he records, engineers, and markets his own music in his home studio. In this episode, we're going to talk about building a strong fan base, managing music, and being a full-time postman, the struggles as an artist in Australia, the Australian hip-hop scene, the future of AI music, and his strategy for the future of his career. I'm happy for you to be in the studio, man. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. That's an intro and a half.
Yeah, and this intro track, this is one of your new ones, hey? It's
Raining Outside.
Just
dropped featuring Boy. So yeah, it's doing super well. It's actually like one of those songs that kind of came about so naturally. I think one of the shortest songs I made, maybe like in an hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa, damn, that's great.
Because like I just got the melody down, and I just kind of like, it was just one of the ones that came to me. And then, Boy is just crazy. And yeah, he jumped on it and it's doing super well. So it's pretty cool that something so natural could kind of have the most pull, like compared to my other ones, at least. It felt like it's connected with a lot more people.
Yeah, sick. And do you find, like, because you kind of engineer your own music and you got your own studio, do you feel like you can make music pretty quickly and get stuff out there quite quick?
I think having the home studio is like so important as a starting artist, like, because you can't pick when you're going to feel inspired. You might feel inspired at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you're not going to like be able to hit your homie up that runs a studio and like go in for a session. Like, you kind of just want to go into your room, you know what you're doing, get something down, and then even if it's just a demo version, and you can tighten it up at a studio or whatever it may be. But I think that home studio is so important because like you might be in the shower, you might be half asleep, you might wake up from a drink, like whatever it may be.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just want to like get something out. Something needs to come out. I think if you don't have that access, it can like I can lose inspiration. Like, I can be driving home from work and have a song pop into my mind, and by the time I get home, I've like lost the flow or melody, and I'm just like, damn. So like I can't even think of like having to try and hold on to something until I can like get into the studio in like 2 days or whatever. Like, I need the home studio for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I actually talked about this with Christian, who's your homie as well. Shout out Christian from Amore. We were talking about just taking advantage of that inspiration in the moment. Like, I feel as creators, we've got to just make moves quickly while we have that inspiration, because if not, it might fade. You might lose that idea.
That's literally how like Raining Outside came about. Like, I got home from work, and then it was like raining all day, and I was just like super like, it was just like relaxed vibe. It was super chill vibe. And like by the time like it was like nighttime, and I was just playing beats, and that beat came on, and it was still raining, and I was just like,
it's raining.
Yeah, so it's literally raining.
Make
it was
song
just like
about raining.
it literally just came. It came down, and it's just like in that moment, like you don't want to have to worry about like, all right, let me write down exactly what I'm feeling, because you can't always write down exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
Like, the music speaks in like melodies or whatever it may be. At least that's how it does for me.
Yeah, you got to like take advantage of that inspiration.
In the moment.
And you didn't really release too much over 2020, but this year you have come out with a few tracks.
Yeah. So I kind of went through a period after like releasing. I started in like I think I released my first track in 2020. I was like mucking around with music in 2019. I was like kind of just like playing on the idea. That's when I started it, but it took me like a while to be like, actually, like I'm going to release something. Yeah. I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't know. I mean, like finding that sound that you think is good enough for your first release, even though looking back now, I'm like, damn, that wasn't good enough for us. But like that first song, it kind of took a while for me to like get that sound that I wanted. Yeah. And then after releasing it, you quickly find out that that's not even the sound you want, because like a lot of the time you're taking in from like what you're influenced by, what you're listening to, more so than what you actually feel or like your past experiences. So it was kind of just like I ran with it for a while and was releasing music, and then it was just kind of like, damn, like I don't even know if this is what I want to say, or it wasn't what I wanted to say. And I kind of felt like I was just like speaking shit on beats, and I was just like, oh, like it's a
Like,
part of it.
do you feel like it wasn't coming from yourself? It was, you're kind of like trying to
I mean,
fit the lyrics to it, like
yeah,
a
like
certain style.
it was coming from like me, but like it was just like stuff that I wasn't really talking about anything, and I was just like, as like,
what's an example? Like,
talking about
like drugs, tits, ass.
not really like that. Just like shit that I don't really care about. Like stuff I want to talk about, like past experiences, which and like I guess that comes with learning your craft. Like you figure out how to do that, which I just didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it took me like after I released like a bunch of music, not a bunch, like I released like four songs or 3 songs, and I just took like a break because I kind of went into like, I was like, well, I don't know what I'm even saying here. I like couldn't find my space, and I was like, it just wasn't like, I think I knew that it wasn't what I wanted to put out there for. Like my brain was kind of like just like creating a block.
Yeah.
And it would kind of force me into just like making so much music until the point where I found what I wanted to say and what I think and how I feel. And I also just matured. Like I was younger when I started. And now I've just kind of like matured and also just learn and practice and put in hours to get to where I am. So yeah, releasing Raining Outside is kind of like the first track that's kind of like what to expect from me in the future.
Yeah,
not necessarily
sure.
that genre or that style, but sort of like it's coming from a place that I actually have been through some things and it's speaking from experiences and pulling that into like into my story and then taking it and going off, because obviously Ghostmac and being an artist is you take inspiration and then you kind of put your own little twist on it and you go on your own little journey. So
yeah, for sure. I think it's so important to create art from yourself, because if you're just trying to create for a certain audience, like obviously you don't want to have a market for your work, but you got to create from yourself, your personal experience. Otherwise it's not going to come off as like natural. Yeah.
And now I find like I'm the things I'm saying and the things I'm saying and the things I'm talking about is super relative to what I believe, is what I think, is what I'm doing. And I think just it was literally just skill level. Like I wasn't able to actually rap like that before, but now I put in that year break where I didn't really release anything, I was just making tracks, and even if no one in the world ever hears them, it was just for my own sort of like, all right, learn how to do this and learn how to switch up here and learn how to talk about this, instead of just like repeating things that have been said by someone that you listen to, but in your own way. So yeah.
Do you feel like you're kind of like rediscovering yourself in a way?
Yeah, massively.
That new sound, yeah.
It's like I fully like I feel like I found myself. And a lot of that came through, like I was working on an album. For those who might know, I don't know if you've seen anything on my Instagram or anything, but Blue Hills is sort of like, that's where I'm from. So it's
cool.
It's not called Blue Hills, but that's just how I affiliate.
That's
home.
your like interpretation.
Yeah,
that's dope.
And it kind of hit me like one night I was driving home, like I was with a homie and we were just driving home, and then I was just like, why am I trying to like, not that I was trying to be someone else, but I was just like, I need to just focus on my roots and where I come from. And 100%. That was Blue Hills. So it's kind of created like a mentality in my head and a way of life. And like, it's full, like brought comfortability of me being who I am to the surface, so I can fully just be me. And I don't have to think twice about whether or not people like it. 'Cause I'm just like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I don't care. It's me.
And I think it takes a while to get to that stage as an artist. Like you got to actually try stuff. You got to put stuff out there. You got to see like, oh, is this me? Is this me? Massively. But then I think, you've got to sort of get in touch with yourself and figure out what you want to say. Yeah. That's what happened with my photography as well. Like I would just go out and shoot random stuff. I didn't even like the stuff I was putting out. Yeah. But you just got to kind of do it anyway. Just put it out, even if you're not really feeling. Just see what happens, and then eventually over time you like get to that stage. Yeah. Well, I still feel like I'm going through that now. Even though I'm confident and I'm so like I believe in the music I'm putting out now or that's coming. I feel like I'm still learning so much about myself. Like every single day, like I'll make a song and like by the time I've finished that song, it'll be like
like I'll be like so hyped off it, and I'm already thinking about the next song. I'm like, the next one I can do is like going to be so much better. And I think that's like a driving point for me, because it's like like it's not in an egotistical way, but like the person that I'm inspired by is almost like my future self, because I know what I can do, or I don't know what I can do, but I believe that it might be something special.
You just have like a vision.
Yeah, exactly. A full vision. And like, it's not that I think that, like, obviously I take inspiration from other artists and stuff like that, but it's more like, if I can do this in like 3 months' time, how much better is this going to be if I can do another version of this? You know what I mean? And that's kind of like, just like that unknown potential in myself is something that drives me to keep doing it and to keep trying new things and all of that. Yeah,
for sure. And I think coming back to creating work that comes from your personal experiences. I talked about this with another artist, Wycliffe, and I also talked about this with DJ Waves, who has like a big has a deep knowledge on like hip hop culture and stuff. And there is a lot of artists that try to, you know, create songs that are going to hit this certain market. And like, you do. I think in a way every artist does that. Even if you look at like Drake or like the huge names, like they're going to use their lyrics to like hit a certain market. But you don't want to let that be like the leading force behind your work.
Well, it's like, I might not be the best rapper, I might not be the best singer, whatever, but like, I'm the best version of me. Yeah. And I know me. So if I'm rapping about me, I'm never going to run out of things to rap about or talk about, because I've been through my own experiences. I've seen my own things. And like, I feel like a lot of people get caught up on rapping about other people's experiences and things that they wish they had experienced. And I think you can see through that, which I think is the problem with when I first started. I think I could even see through it. Yeah. Which is like, kind of like, not annoying, but it's just like, it made me feel like, what am I doing? You know, like I was like, I want to look at it and be like, no, I'm proud of that. That's something I lived through, and it take me back to a time instead of just listening to me kind of like spew random words out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You mentioned you actually had a track to preview. Yes. I was wondering if we could have a little listen to that. You can just connect to the Bluetooth.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's so.
But tell us about this one.
So this one's probably my favorite track to date. Yeah. What's it called? Roadcaster Pro. Yeah. Yeah. So, probably my favorite track to date, and it's comes out the 2nd of December.
Yeah. This is a first listen here, guys, on Digital Creators Podcast. I'll play a
little bit of it just so we can show the viewers what we're working with. It's called Like That.
Like it when I fuck you from the back like that. When I grab you by the waist and pull your hair like that, like that, like that. Super fine saying, oh, I'm gonna hit you right back. Give a fuck about the distance. You know where I'm at, where I'm at, where I'm at. Twist it off, go
so sick. Yeah. It's got that international sound, you know, like I can, because a lot of artists try and hit the Australian market too much, I feel, but this can definitely, you know, I can see it's being played in like clubs overseas and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of got that old school sort of like 2000s, like 50 Cent almost, like the bounce in the beat. I just always like, I hadn't heard like a beat like this coming out of like Perth or like even like the Australian scene. That there might be stuff that I haven't found, but just from me, I hadn't really found that sound, and I was like, I kind of want to touch into that, into that vibe, and just see what comes from it, and just experiment, because I wasn't trying to put myself in a box with just like, all right, you're gonna be this style of rapper, like you're gonna do this beat, and like I just wanted to jump on stuff I like. So that's how that come along, and like without a home studio, this song wouldn't have come out, just because like I think it was like 9:30. And like I wake up hella early for work. Yeah. And I was like, nah, like I don't want to, like, I'm just gonna go for a shower and go to bed. And in the shower I was playing the beat. Yeah. and I came up with like
He was just rapping in the shower.
yeah, and that's literally like so I do that all the time to try to find inspo, because people sing in the shower, and if you play a beat,
the shower, it's funny, like the shower is just this place for inspiration,
right,
like all the time.
crazy.
Like your craziest ideas come to you in the shower.
Like thank God for showers, because like without a shower, like I wouldn't have this song. But like I came up with the melody, and I was like, all right, I'll just like open up the session and quickly like run the melody and just let's see if it sounds good, because like obviously it can sound different once recorded and stuff compared to in the shower. And I came up with the melody, and literally it was just like, it just almost like I said this to a homie the other day, it was almost like not even like me like thinking the song, it was just like I was like the vessel, and it was just like some sort of higher power, whatever, just like made me control the buttons of like doing everything, and it was just kind of like coming out, and it was just like so easy and natural, almost like the Raining Outside song.
That's how you want it to be.
Exactly.
That's when you know it's kind of like
exactly, and that's when you know it's coming from you, and your heart, and like your sort of like story and spin, where the other ones like I was like having to think about like, this, and
the ones that come out good are the ones you don't really have to think about. It comes like naturally. You don't have to, planning and
exactly. It's just like a flow state. You went to a flow state, and it's just like whatever's controlling you is just, you've got a purpose, and you're doing that. You're serving that purpose, but sometimes you can overthink stuff, and it just gets too messy. And like there's songs that I've done before where I've like sat on them for like 3 months trying to like figure out the second verse, and it's like, bro, it's just not the right one. Then you know what I mean? Like if it comes natural, it's so much better.
I think that means you've kind of found your style and your sound when it like it's easy to create, and then you get the idea for the next song. I think it's the same with any creative craft. Like when you find your style, you kind of know.
Well, that's sort of like, and I don't really like to like sit there and write. Like the way I recorded that was I just pretty much like recorded, like I would like put like 4 tracks into the session, and I just started freestyling and trying to, like, I obviously had the little like original melody, but then I just keep on freestyling and coming, like I wasn't saying anything. I was just kind of like singing, going in and out of pockets, flows, and like that's how that came about. It wasn't like me sitting there going, all right, this bit needs to sound like this, and I need to rap like this on this part, because like, and that's what I used to do, because like that's just, I didn't have experience. It wasn't like, I hadn't found like how I work yet. And ever since like finding that sort of style where I kind of just like play a beat and I just record until something stands out, and then the rest just pretty much comes after that, it's just like allowed me to like make songs so much better and like easier as well. Like it stops the overthinking, because once
would you say your creative process has changed now? Like and like how has it changed?
Well, it's just like going from like that, like I got the hook down for that in probably like maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And the hook was done, and I did that night. But like my old songs, I would have sat there for probably 15 or 20 minutes thinking of what I'm even going to say in the hook. And it's just like, nah, that's just, it just sounds forced, you know? And I could tell it sounded forced. And maybe on the outside, people, when they hear my old stuff, they're like, yeah, this one's still so hard. But like I can hear like me thinking about it almost, if that makes sense. Like kind of like, no, that you can tell that's not come from your heart. Where a song like this is just like, I don't know, it just comes straight off the bat. And it's like you said, like it's always sort of the best ones, because this song and Raining Outside have been the more recent ones where I've done that, and they've resonated with people the most. So it just kind of goes to show that it really is just like following your gut, your sound, and not letting like the outside noise kind of like hold you down.
100%. And switching it up a bit, so you're working full time as a postman.
Yes, sir. Postman Mac400.
So tell us about that. I find that like super cool, super interesting. So what's kind of like your day to day?
So I got a job, like it was like this time last year as a postie. Shout out my uncle for hooking that job up. But yeah, it's pretty much just like early starts, early finishes. So like I wake up at like 4:30 every morning, and I start at like 5:15, which comes in handy because I finish early. So I finish at like 1:20 or before every day, just about. So which obviously gives me like enough time to just, I mean, like if I'm not like working, it's pretty much just straight into my actual work, which is just like making music, because there's not many jobs. Like I was working retail before, and it was just dead, bro. Like I
Yeah.
was just like,
The worst hours.
yeah, it was just like such bad hours, and like I felt like just drained from like
Yep.
people, and just like coming home and like rapping and like being energized and stuff, and like wanting to like express how I feel after you've just been like bottling up how you feel and just putting on a blank face all day.
Yeah.
Just like it just doesn't work, and like it was like not killing me, but like I was just like getting like hella like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
So being outside, like being a postie, like even though like it's raining or like it's like you're outside,
I feel like everyone loves you as opposed to you're like delivering. Everyone's like, hey, how's it
bro.
going? You don't have to deal with like people's shit.
Yeah, you're on your own, you're doing your thing, and bro, like for some reason, like the Australian culture just loves posties.
Yeah.
Like unless you get some like real like whack person,
Yeah.
like 9 times out of
Facts.
10, like they like offer you drinks, like they were like so nice to you, like it's like you're a friend. They all come out the front for a chat.
Yeah.
It's literally just like you're like almost like a little like local superhero. Like
Yeah.
these people just like, because I mean like you're delivering, unless it's late. If you're delivering late parcels, then people are hella mad. But like it is what it is.
True.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of like it's an easy job. You get in and out, you do your thing, and it gives me enough time to work on my music, which is the main thing. Like that's all I want to be able to do. So
And I've actually seen you use it as sort of like a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Like
you
showing
saw
your
it
postman
on
work.
the TikTok, did you
Yeah.
see? Yeah.
What did the TikTok say?
I think it was like all these people don't even know that their postie's gonna be like the best rapper out of the city or some shit.
So good. I love that.
Yeah, it was mainly just like like I was just thinking like all these people. I think I did deal with like a shitty customer that day, or like someone was hell mad for their parcel being late, and I was like, bro, like the fuck, I'm not gonna be doing this for the rest of my life. And I was just like, none of these people like know that I'm literally in like a couple of years.
Tracks.
Yeah, they're gonna be fucking like talking about me in a completely different sense. I'm gonna come through their radio instead of delivering their fucking mail.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the idea. But I should do more of those. Like tap into that like posty TikTok stuff, because I feel it resonates with, I mean, everyone in Australia.
100%. I've seen a lot of just viral TikToks in general surrounding like posties, and I think if you really owned it and tapped into that postie and then created some more content, even like just throwing it out there, you could do it for like a year. You could build up like a crazy following just based around that style. Yeah. And then if you're taking it like you wanted to post more serious stuff, now that you got that follower base, like you'd be able to do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, yeah, literally, like I said before, everyone knows their postie. So like, and I looked at like posties of TikTok, and that was one of the hashtags. I had like 11 million like tags or something. I was like, what the fuck? Like I thought it was gonna be hella low, but like it seems people to be a thing.
Posties.
Yeah. So if I can just like do that more, and I think releasing more music, because like I haven't been able to fully market myself the way I want to or get stuff out, because I've been so quiet. But now that I'm like coming back into my zone, and I've got music coming out consistently, I can like actually market properly, and like for new tracks and different ideas, instead of just like kind of like random one-off things, you know, get momentum going. Yeah,
for sure. I think it's interesting, the phenomenon that like people love posties. I think in Australian culture, people love so like I guess blue collar workers like builders, tradesmen, posties. I think maybe that's what most people do, so then they relate to it more. And it also kind of ties into the topic of the tall poppy syndrome, I think, because there is that culture around having more respect for people that are doing what everyone else is doing.
Facts.
Which is like the tradie postman thing. Whereas if you're an outlier and you're trying to do something different, or you're trying to make a name for yourself in your creative craft, there is that like tall poppy culture. That's
true. Yeah, I feel like Australia's just like, I mean, Perth definitely, because Perth is really just like a small town. But like Australia overall is just like a massive small town. Like we're so behind everywhere else, especially in like the hip hop and music scene. We're so behind like the US and even like the UK and stuff like that. So I think like a lot of that like tall poppy syndrome just comes from like, I don't know really what it is, but like I think it's just because it's never really been a thing that Australians are known for. Like you don't like now, a lot of people are rapping now, and like, it's becoming more normal, which is dope because it's putting so much more into the scene. But like before, like it's like one of your homies being a rapper was like not really known. You know what I mean? Like
you were talking about Kylie Minogue before, like that.
Yeah.
Was a sort of phenomenon.
Yeah, well, it's like I think like she was always like not hated, but like she was definitely like struggled to get the support, and then as soon as she like blew up overseas, it all switched, and like everything was like Kylie Minogue, like our Kylie,
it's
and
like
all this stuff.
The people from America are accepting her, and so now
it's cool.
We can do it.
Yeah, now it's cool, and it's just like I find that as well. Like people almost see it as like because of their insecurities or because they're not doing something that they want to do, and they're too scared to kind of take that jump because their parents don't want them to, or because their friends don't think it's whatever, you know, it might be. It's like when you do it, it's almost like fuck you for like thinking you can do that, when it's just like, bro, like just like support, like get around people, like everyone's just doing what they want to do, and like
especially when you're starting,
exactly,
like when you're starting and you want to do something different. I do think most parents are like, oh no, kind of like stay on track, get a regular job, blah blah blah, have this path that's set for everybody, massively. And then because everyone else is getting that, then they give it to sort of put it on to other people.
Well, people are so quick to quit on themselves as well. Before they even give anyone else an opportunity, they quit on themselves. Like so many people, they get asked what they want to do, and before they even say what they want to do, they've quickly cancelled it out and put like, oh, I want to be a teacher. Yeah. It's like, if that's what you actually want to do, that's dope. Do your thing. But like really they want to be a singer. But they just get told, oh no, there's not enough jobs, or like, oh no, there's no money in that, or like, oh, do you know how hard you're gonna have to work? It's like like just do what you want to do and own it, and if you put enough hard work in, and like persistence, delusion, I think so, like delusion is massive. Like you almost need to live off delusion to get to, like, if you say you wanted to be a pop star, like delusion, you need to have that like crazy like self-belief and just think that like you can be that, because without that it's like you're just gonna fall into like the trap of like, all right, that's true.
I see it as just like investing in yourself, like it's more like self-belief. Like if you just keep doing what you want to do, you're just only going to get better at it, and better at it. And on top of that, like you don't have to be like a rapper or a celebrity or an actor like to have a fulfilling life. Like some people actually want to be fucking posties or teachers, and it's like, I fuck with that. Like do what you want to do.
We need that, but like don't cancel yourself out and go down a road that you're actually not going to be happy in 20 years time. You know, like I'm really big on just like, if you want to do something, like just do it. Like fuck what like anyone else says, because they're too insecure to go for their goals, you know. And I think like that's massive on my parents, especially. Like my parents have always been super supportive, like no matter what I've done, like everything that from a young age, you know, like they've been harsh on me, and like not harsh, but like they've guided me in directions and stuff, but they've never been like, oh, why would you want to do that? Or like, why are you doing music now? Or like, why do you can't play sports as a career? Like it's always been, if that's what you want to do and you're going to work hard, like do it and just go for it. And they've always given me like the opportunities, and like just like I think it comes from how you're brought up a lot of the time as well. And if you're brought up in a household or in a family where it's kind of like you have a dream, but like you're brought up around like the 9-to-5 lifestyle, it's very hard for you to break that cycle, because like that's just a normal thing, which is like that's how it is. But like if you've got parents who've kind of tried different things, and they came from like creative backgrounds, or they tried different things than just like the regular 9-to-5, then you're going to be a lot more you're going to feel like, I feel like the reason I feel like I can chase music is through my mum and dad's passion for music. Yeah. It's like their love for it allowed me to be like, no, I can do this, and and I'm not going to feel judged.
And they can at least relate to it, because they've had experience in music. And they're like, oh, you know, he's like us, passionate about music.
Exactly. And I think that's just, sometimes that falls off with like other people, and their parents might not have done the same thing. So it's hard for them to understand. But yeah, I think without your parent, and a lot of people want to impress their parents. So like, by me doing music, I feel like I'm impressing my parents more. Not that I do it for them, you know, but like I feel like I'm accepted for doing that, rather than like if I chose to do music, it'd be like, oh, why aren't you getting a trade, or like why aren't you going to uni? You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing.
And because you only started in 2019, but you know you've been selling out shows and that sort of thing. Yeah. So how have you kind of, and obviously you got your collective 400.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I just want to know about your collective and how did you build such like a strong fan base to be able to sell at shows?
So yeah, the Collective 400 comes from, I was actually overseas when it was created. It's got 3 members. So we got DZ 400, Caleb 400 and myself. Caleb's like a visual director, creative director. He does like crazy videos. He's killing it at the moment. Like, like the standard of like videos coming from him and he's only been doing it like really like he's only done like, I think he's done like 6 videos, but like the standard in like 6 videos is crazy. And DZ rapper, mixer, master, engineer, he does it all as well. It's sort of just us 3. We all went to school together as youngsters, and it's kind of just like, I was actually overseas.
But you went to school in New South Wales?
Karratha.
Oh, Karratha, okay.
Yeah, so that's where we all met. I was actually overseas when 400 was like kind of developed. It was more like DZ and Caleb sort of like came up with it together. And I was overseas, but obviously they're my best mates, so I was always like involved. I was always supporting and stuff. Yep. And then when I came back, it was kind of like, oh yeah, let's all do this. And we all kind of jumped on board. And like, yeah, ever since then, like being in Perth, we've just always wanted to kind of like break the roof and do something different. Like talking about that, like we never wanted to do a trade or we never wanted to do like a 9 to 5. It was always like, we just didn't see ourselves doing that.
So like having like-minded people around you helped
massively, yeah. Because as well, you can relate to that. And like, so like if all my friends were just doing 9 to 5 trades, like it would be hard for me to really like step out of the box. Even though you got to, like even like at 16, I left school to like move overseas to play sports. And that was a hard thing to do because like I dropped out of school and like so many people were like, what, like you're going to drop out of school to go play soccer in Spain? Like what the hell? Like that's, but it's just like, you've just got to do it and you've just got to believe that you can do it and take that step. But yeah, that's pretty much us 400. Obviously, as a family, we've got way more people that we associate with in 400. But we're kind of like the 3 that are kind of pushing it at the moment and really running with it. And we all play our part. There'll be more people in 400 in the future. But at the moment, it's just like, it's us 3 boys. And yeah, what was the other one?
So your fan base, like how did you build such a strong fan base in honestly like such a short period of time?
I think the thing,
because selling, like in my opinion, selling out shows is kind of like, I guess it's the main income for artists, but also it's the main indicator that people are really like messing with your stuff. Yeah,
no, that's true. That's facts. I think it came from just like performing really. Like we were just like, as soon as we got a chance to perform, we wanted to perform so bad. As soon as we got that chance, we just was so active. Like me and DZ played sports since a young age together. He's like just as well as Caleb, like both my best mates. But on stage, from playing sports, like me and DZ, I think kind of carried like a chemistry from like playing sports together to being on stage together, and we could just like really work the crowd. And I think I wasn't releasing too much music, and even though we were hella new on the scene, I think just like that, the like dynamic duo sort of on stage and just having energy and just like going crazy and turning up, I think kind of like left people going like, oh, what, like who are those two? Like who's 400? Like what are they about? And then ever since then, it's kind of progressed into like, selling out shows and stuff like that. And I think it just really comes down to like the music and like how you perform the music. Cause like people might come and do a show with like, you know, like a lot of the guys I'll do shows with now, way more streams than me. And like someone might have 300,000 streams, but you come on stage and they're just like, they're like, their shoulders are like hunched over. They're like walking. They're like not really engaging with
Interesting. I think you guys are kind of doing, I'd say like old school method, because, you know, back in the day there wasn't streaming. There was like records or whatever. Shows were like the main thing. Yeah. So you had to be good at it. But now you don't actually have to be that good because we have Auto-Tune. We have Spotify, like the streaming platform, Instagram, like you can just watch videos. So that's really sick that you're taking the shows like the most serious, because that's actually when you're seeing your fans, you're connecting with your fans.
Well, I feel like that's the best part of it. Like you make music to perform. And like I think like I went through that phase in COVID where I kind of was going through a bit of like a block, and I think like you need shows to be able to feel what the music is doing, you know? You need to be able to feel, all right, this song is resonating with these people. And even though it's not like a massive crowd, like you can still see people's faces and how you're impacting them with that sound or that song or that beat, you know? And when there's COVID, like when COVID was around, it's like you couldn't do that. Like you were just putting it out just on the internet and that was it. There was no like a feel. It was kind of just like, yep, that's out. And I wasn't releasing music, but still the shows were, when they came back, it fully allowed me to kind of take that next step because I was allowed to express my new music and see how people were taking it. And that's really how I think I built a name for myself to now, because I haven't even released really in like a year and a half. I hadn't released any music, but I was selling out shows, not just myself. Like there was obviously other acts and everything who were doing their part as well, but still getting a packed, being on a lineup where it's a sellout and performing in front of that many people and having it go as a success is like, I think it goes to show about one, the music and who you are as an artist and how you are as a performer, which at the end of the day is I'm a performer. So I think
I think at the end of the day, the answer is kind of obvious. You perform shows really well. Yeah. People go see those shows. They're like, they want to come back. It's like a returning customer basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I think once the music's out, it's going to be even bigger and better because like I'll be performing songs that aren't even out and people are singing along.
You really have that confidence on stage, like you.
Yeah.
And you said it helps that you had that collective. So maybe some of your boys on stage, like,
well, just having
that
them around at the start, definitely at the start helped. Like,
I guess what's your process like before you go on stage? How do you kind of summon that energy and that confidence? And
honestly,
what's your process for that?
At the start, it was just like you were just like nerves, and I like drunk hella.
Is this every show you kind of a little bit nervous, or?
Yeah, you get a little bit of like nerves, not so much anymore because I think I'm confident in performing and I'm confident in like what I'm doing. Definitely at the start, because obviously it's just a new thing. You're in a new field, you're performing in front of people, all eyes are on you. But then when you kind of feel like you kind of get into a pocket and you know that the music's got quality and you know like how you feel about it, then you can kind of just go on there and be like, nah, like I know what I'm doing. Like I'm bringing something to the table and like I'm going to perform for you guys.
Yeah.
And I think that now is what I've kind of hit. Like I've kind of just hit a pocket where I'm like, I don't even really think about it now. I just jump up on the stage and it's kind of like, it's just like
I know it takes a lot of work to be able to like summon sort of that energy and have that confidence.
I to do it. Honestly, crazy. I almost don't even think about it now, because like as soon as the beat starts, it's almost just like my body or whatever takes over. Is
it like your mind switches off and you just let
fully?
Okay,
cool. My mind fully switches off and it's just like it happens and like it's just like that's such a good feeling because you can just fully connect, and that's how I know it's for me because I don't think about what I'm doing; it just happens. And if people resonate with it and they like what I'm doing, then it's just like, all right, just keep doing this.
I think just the genre of hip hop, you get like the craziest audiences.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at like Playboy Carti performing, or I know there was like Rolling Loud a few years ago, maybe 2019, with X and Ski Mask and stuff.
So
like
crazy.
The crowds are insane.
After seeing that X and Ski, like Rolling Loud Miami, I was just like, that's like for me is like my goal. Like
imagine that energy.
I can't wait to just like perform there. Like that's definitely something I'm gonna do in the future, and it's like one of the main things. Like it's like I don't give a fuck. Once I get to there, Rolling Loud Miami, it's like damn, I feel like I've done it. Yeah, and until then, it's like nah, keep going. Yeah. So unless I sell out Rolling Loud Miami, then it's just a continued battle.
For sure. And who are like your inspirations for your music?
My main inspiration, I'd say, is Russ. I don't know if you've heard of Russ. Yeah. So he's definitely my main.
He's got crazy work ethic and like he's got that marketing strategy.
Yeah.
I like, my personal take on it is like, I like how he just simplifies anything. His music art, like you can see how his music art's always the same, bang, bang, bang. It's just the mentality of like putting out tracks.
Yeah, and it's that work ethic is something that I resonate with because I've always just been someone that's like not afraid to just fucking just like, I don't know, work hard. And it's not even that I look at it as working hard. It's just something that I feel like if you feel if you feel like passionate about something, then why wouldn't you work hard? And if you
Yeah.
don't really work that hard, then you don't really feel passionate about it. And and he just like has such good takes, and you know, he was a little bit like not liked at the start, and there was like some different opinions and stuff, but I'd always like supported him and followed him. So yeah, he's definitely my main inspiration. Obviously, like you got like your Drakes, your Kanye's, like Jay-Z's, stuff like that. But yeah, for my main go-to, like who I look to, not even just in the music, but like as a business and as a artist, or how to run a business, or like he's runs a label as well, and it's all that sort of stuff. So it's just like I take little bits from everyone and try to blend it all in together. But
And do you want to be signed as an artist, or what's like your kind of direction and how you want to market yourself and make it?
I want to be independent until I can be in the position where I can sign to a label but still own all my music. Like still I want to have that leverage. I don't want to go into a room and they say, you know, we'll give you $1 million and we'll own all your music, and then you're our artist for 3 years. It's like, nah, let's go into a thing, and it's like 50-50 on anything we do moving forward or whatever it may be. But like I've already got the momentum and the fans and the infrastructure to be like, well, if you guys don't want that, I don't need you anyway. So I want to go into something after I've built a name for myself and see what happens. But for the main part, I want to be independent, because, you know,
more freedom.
I like I like being able to do what I want when I want, and I think that's being an artist. You know, you create and do what you want. Like all these other borders kind of just take it out of you.
It doesn't help your creative process.
Takes the love out of the game, you know.
For sure. And do you think you could be a full-time artist in Perth, in Australia? Like, I think you could. It's just hard. Like I feel like in Australia there's still such a stigma on even like hip hop and rap. Like there's like a roof you can hit, and I feel like if you want to, I hope it changes. I feel like it's starting to change now, where Australia's becoming a little bit more tapped into becoming its own scene and its own thing, and creating its own sort of like, we're Australian, we've got our thing, rather than like someone getting on and it's like, all right, 10 minutes later, I'm going over to America. And it's like, I definitely want to do that. I aspire to get to America and hit Europe and hit all of that. But I think, it's still pretty difficult to really get to a level where you can burst on both scenes. It's sort of like you either blow up and you go to America, or you blow up and stay in Australia. It's not really like you can stay in Australia and blow up in America. You kind of have to make that switch. Why do you think most hip-hop artists have to go to Australia to make it?
Or go to America?
I mean, to go to America,
I think that's just because I think the scene really, like, I think we've got, I mean, in America, there's so many different avenues. There's so many different people, and hip hop has been their sound, has been their thing. Hip hop and rap has been, that's where it originates from, you know? So like that's the top. But within Australia, it's like hip hop and rap hasn't always been the top. So it's like you can get to a certain level, and then it's kind of like there's still so many other genres and other like factors that you've got to jump through to become the top dog in Australia. Whereas like you could get to a certain level where you're doing really well in Australia, and then if you're good enough, you make that move, and then you blow up there and you blow up in Australia because of it. But I feel like, it's
crazy how you have to blow up in America to blow up in Australia. Like it doesn't make sense.
I feel like
I think again, it's that culture, or like same with what you were saying with Kylie Minogue, how she had to, you know, she wasn't liked in Australia, and then because America was like backing her.
It's sort of like that not tall poppy syndrome. It is in a way, but I think it's just
we kind of copy a lot of the American culture.
We don't think it's cool until they think it's cool, and I think that's what is changing now. It's like
I think it is because of social media and TikTok and everything. We're kind of like it's that
we're not like
dissolving.
We're not like Oz rap anymore. We're not like Aussie rap now. It's kind of like people like the Kid Laroi, for example, and stuff like that have kind of. And
what would you define as Australian hip hop?
Well, I'd probably say what's going on, like the stuff I'm making now. and the people around me in this scene, sort of like, I think that's what's coming out as Aussie hip hop, because hip hop is the number one music genre in the world. Now is the most popular, you know, and Australia is slowly starting to tap in.
But there's not that Australian sound. I mean, we had like Hilltop Hoods and 360
all those guys,
you know, with the Australian accent. Like I was talking to DJ Waves and we were like trying to figure out like, oh, what is Australian hip hop? And he was asking the question like, is it the accent? Does the accent make the
well, I think the
genre, if there is one.
Yeah, I think that was sort of making the genre, but now like so many people are like,
it's multicultural.
Yeah,
so.
and it's not even an accent thing anymore, because people like myself and are rapping with how we've heard music. So I didn't grow up listening. I mean, I listened to Hilltop Hoods and stuff, but I was inspired by Drake's, Kanye's, Jay-Z's, Russ, stuff like that. True. So for me, naturally, it's not like I'm forcing an accent. It just comes out that way because that's what I've been influenced by. Therefore, it's changing and making movements towards that American sound, but we're still from Australia. So it's sort of kind of going.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I hadn't heard that take.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's going in that vibe, and it's allowing people to come onto the scene with like that singing melodies and you know, it's not like even recently someone said to me like, so what makes you like put on an accent? And I'm like, nah, like I'm not putting on an accent. It's just
that is what you grew up listening to. Like, even as Australian, you grew up listening to American hip hop music.
So that's how it's gonna come out, and I think that's what's sort of changing, and making it okay. And now it's kind of changing the way of how Australia sees music, because that sort of sound and that American sound is no longer becoming just an American sound. It's becoming
a global sound.
Yeah, it's becoming a global sound. And through like TikTok, Instagram, like you could be the kid in the middle of like, you could be in Alice Springs and you could make a song and you sound like you're from Atlanta. And like all you need is like.
However, I do think there are genres in hip hop. Say in London, you have grime. Like they have their own sound.
Yeah.
In I'm sure like in Atlanta, there's a certain sound.
Yeah. Atlanta got the heavy trap and stuff like that.
Trap.
Chicago have drill.
Drill. Yeah. Drill from Chicago.
Yeah.
So, like, I do have to ask a question, like, why haven't we developed our own sound here in Australia?
I think I honestly just think it's because we're so far behind. Like we are as a country, like we've always been behind in fashion, behind in this, and hip hop has been something that is only sort of coming to the scene now. So right now, I feel like these next few years is going to be really strong for Australian hip hop, because we're really starting to put our roots into the ground and like grow as Australian hip hop, you know. And I think that's the difference. Is before it was Australian hip hop, Hilltop Hoods, like Karratha, just like real Aussie rap. But now it's kind of like changing and it's becoming this is sort of becoming Aussie rap, because you look at like the AU drip, like, and you scroll through like the Spotify playlist of all the Australian like hip hop and stuff, and it's like none of them really sound like Karratha and Hilltop Hoods anymore, because that's not really, and in a way they are just trying to replicate what's going on in America, because that's what's hot. Yeah. But also that's just how hip hop is going, and that's the direction it's going in Australia. So that's kind of.
I think I'd say the type of music that's successful that's coming out of Australia. I'm just talking about from what I see from Perth. I mean, you have like Tame Impala and then Spacey Jane. They've kind of like.
Well, they dominate. That's the sort of main thing now.
It's like the indie rock genre.
Yeah, that's definitely, and that's like what we're talking about before, like The Roof. Unless you're kind of like when you get to that level, like obviously with Triple J, a lot of.
I say Triple J backs that music really hard, Triple J, than any other.
Yeah, well that's what sells, you know. So that's what they're gonna play, and that's what they're gonna support. So it makes being a hip hop artist in Australia harder, but I think it's changing, and I think tides are turning. But I think that sound is always going to be like that sort of like indie rock beach sort of like.
It'd be cool to have maybe even like your collective 400 could create some genre like I think it is possible to have a genre come out of you know, even a state like
Yeah.
Perth, maybe
Well,
Perth could have a genre. I don't know.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk on this, but I know Caleb's work in like he's doing a video at the moment, with a hip hop rapper and like a band that's like super like indie rock
sick.
sort of stuff.
Oh, they collaborate. Oh,
yeah,
that's,
so like
that's
he's
dope.
got like he's doing the video and it's like hip hop, and then those guys, and I think like
Oh, that's sick.
it's
actually.
gonna be crazy because like having his mind, which is sort of like a hip hop mind, that's where like the music he's influenced by, blending with like another hip hop artist who's blending with like a band that's like full
dude.
like Oz. I think it's gonna
that could be the
waves.
answer, man. Like you see these bands,
Yeah.
that type of music. Is it sort of like an indie rock band, or
Yeah,
is it,
they are. They're very
Yeah.
like
So that could be the answer, because you see indie rock being very successful in
exactly
Australia, like especially Spacey Jane, they like blew up last year.
take off. Yeah,
So if hip hop artists kind of collaborated with that sound, I haven't heard anything like that before. So
yeah,
that could be
I
unique.
definitely want to touch into that into that sound at some point. Because like my dad, like his music was predominantly like he's super musical and he's like a punk artist. So a lot of the stuff I grew up on was like dad's punk music, like a lot of like heavy bands, and then mum's also like super into her bands and stuff. So like I grew up on like a blend of like that dad sound, and mum was a little bit more into like your hip hops and stuff. Like she'd listen to like the Black Eyed Peas and like the Fugees and stuff like that. So like it was like a good blend. But then like my older brother and sister would listen to like Akon and like all of those guys when they were coming up in like the early 2000s. So like I was like growing up in a household where it was like it might be like Jeff Buckley and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then like Grinspoon and like Akon. So it was like a super dynamic range of just all these different sounds. And I think like going like from my dad's music, I obviously like my dad's music, so I want to try and blend the two. And I've done a few tracks that are unreleased, like where I've sampled dad's songs and like it's been like a punk rock sort of like rock stuff. But yeah, I definitely want to try and touch into that market and try and see if I can hit the market where it's sort of that blend between Australian hip hop and what is becoming Australian hip hop.
Honestly, I think that could be the answer, because
Yeah,
if you have the Australian market being the indie rock, and then even you see that sound being pushed in America. You have these bands like Tame Impala and Spacey Jane, huge. If you collaborate, you tap into that sound with hip hop, it's creating like a new sound, and it's like an Australian sound.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you guys are collaborating, and on top of that, you see, with the rise of Juice WRLD and that the alternative hip hop scene.
Yeah,
So many more, like even Post Malone, so many more rappers are implementing like acoustic guitars into their sound.
Yeah.
You've blended it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you like, and I'm super keen to hear Caleb's stuff, like collaborating with like an indie band. I think that's like a sick idea.
Yeah,
that would work.
I think I haven't seen any parts of the video. I know they've shot some of it. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. I don't know.
But what's do you want to plug? I can add him in the show notes.
Caleb 400 on YouTube. Check all this stuff out. Hit him up for videos. And DZ, obviously DZ 400 on Spotify and everything like that. So those are the 400 boys. And if you follow either of us, you're gonna see the rest of the family. So tap into everyone else on there.
Sure. And what's kind of on the horizon for you? Have you got some more shows or some tracks? Like obviously you got the single coming out.
We got Like That coming out December the 2nd, and we've also found out yesterday that I'm going to be performing at there's like a Jargon Cabinet Noir on the 2nd, the Friday night. So I'll be performing at that, which is dope.
Hey, I'll be there, yeah.
Oh, real? Dope. All right, yeah, I'll be performing there. I don't know how long I've got to perform, but I'll obviously do Like That and probably like maybe just like 4 other just like crazy tracks and try to get the place jumping.
Sick. That's dope, man. Everybody, get behind Jargon as well. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, Jargon and Moreclo, all that. Get behind it. And then it's just pretty much singles. Like I've been working on so much music ever since kind of having that like period where I just kind of took a break. It's just been like straight out just working on like just so much music, and I'm working on an album that's like kind of like I said before, like the Blue Hills.
I love that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it just resonates. I feel like, and as well, like I felt like Blue Hills for some reason many people.
Forest Hills.
Forest Hills Drive. Yeah. Well, so many people have resonated with like the blue, and
I think it's like the Blue Mountains of Sydney.
Yeah,
and then it paints a picture.
Yeah, I think it's like as soon as you hear it, you kind of your mind goes to a
Yeah.
certain spot. But yeah, I was just over there and we got like a bunch of footage. We recorded some music.
Really?
Yeah, me and Daisy we went over
True.
there for a couple of weeks. So I kind of like I found my pocket and I made like 13 tracks for the album, and I was just like and then I dipped and I was like, all right, kind of not lost my way because I knew what I wanted to say, but I kind of lost the motivation. And then going there and touching the soil, being around the people,
Cool.
feeling that sort of like that way of life has like lit that flame again. So now I'm ready to, that'll probably come out towards the end of the year. But until then, it's just singles, and some of the singles that I've got is just I'm super confident.
I totally relate to that as well. Like I'm in a position where like I haven't posted in a while. Doesn't mean haven't been thinking about my work and stuff, but I just needed to take that break, figure out like. Just kind of take these different pieces from the experiences I've had and like line it up and ready to like jump back into it.
It can get a lot as well. Like you're always like being like an artist or a photographer or whatever it may be that you're doing. You know, you always feel like if you're not doing anything, like you're not posting or you're not releasing, it's like you're almost feeling yourself like you're getting behind. And to other people it seems like that as well, but like as long as you're just working on something every day, like a brick a day, doing one thing that relates to whatever you want to do in the end goal, like, you know, you're still going to be doing something every single day. Like I was on the plane going over there and I was just like, what the hell? Like I felt so I was like trying to make beats. Teasy was making beats next to me, but like I was like tucked in on this like a plane. And I was like trying to make beats and I was like, fuck, I can't like do it. So I was like, fuck, I'll write a verse. So I like brought up one of the songs I did and I wrote a verse and I was just writing about being like in this fucking economy sea, like with like fucking squished in. I was like, that just gives me the hunger to be like, nah, let's get to work. And like
one day I'm gonna be on my jet.
Exactly, bro. I'll be recording and stretching, all that shit. Like that's what it comes to. So
100%. And in terms of like over the next year, are you going to go hard on like what sort of outlets in terms of marketing are you going to go hard on? Like TikTok?
Yeah, I'll probably
Instagram. Like where's your focus?
Yeah, it'll probably be everything, to be honest, because I'll have consistent music. I just want to try and hit every market, and I'm meeting the right people. I'm gaining contacts in the right areas now that I'm being a bit more active, so I can sort of rely on other people to sort of help me find the right people to help find me. So I think TikTok's definitely going to be something I'm trying to tap into a little bit more, as well as Instagram, everything. But TikTok at the moment is just like free advertising.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think it's so important to kind of focus on TikTok. It's such a good outlet for creators. Even
your TikTok's popping, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've got a TikTok for my photography account.
Yeah, I seen some of the numbers on that. Like the one of the car.
Yeah, got like over 1 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so I haven't actually posted on there in like a year, I swear, but
real. Have you?
I developed like the knowledge of how to do that, so like I know I can do it again. So now I'm applying that to like digital creators. So I'm making like little videos that are
clips,
hitting it. I'm gonna, but like you, I'm kind of like figuring out my new sort of direction.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna like jump back into it. I know exactly what to do on TikTok to like blow up. So it's almost like it's more important to like know the knowledge of how to do well on TikTok.
You got to study it, and I think a lot of people just jump on and like they chuck up some videos and like, damn, this shit isn't working, like it's whack, get off.
Yeah,
but it's like you got to put in the
put it out there. Yeah,
like even making music is not just making music; it's like watching YouTube videos of how to like mix, how to master, how to engineer, how to do this, and like all of that is a part of it. And people even like watching interviews, like every day I'll watch a new interview of some rapper, even if I don't listen to them, because they're sitting in a seat I want to be sitting in.
Facts.
And like, no matter, even if it's an hour of pointless conversation, for like that 5 minutes, they might give me a gem that changes my whole ethic or the way I think about things. That's a part of work. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And like that's what it comes to, you know, as long as you're doing little bits of it and trying to take little things from every single avenue you can and just soak everything up. Like, you'd be silly not to, especially in 2022 when the information is all over TikTok, it's all over YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Keep learning, guys.
There's no reason to not, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's true you're saying, like, just put like one brick down every single day.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to build a house.
Yeah, I struggle with that because like I'm just like I beat myself up if I don't like work, if I've not done like like if I don't do a verse or if I don't do half a song in a day or a song or whatever. Like I'm so like what am I doing? Like I'm wasting my time, and like I get full in my head. But it's like, yeah, but you've watched an interview, you've read this, you've done like this research on like this marketing page. You know what I mean?
You on your path,
so it's like you just have to kind of take the good with the bad and realize that you are working hard, and like sometimes you can work too hard. Sometimes you can work too hard, and I struggle with that.
Exactly. You don't want to get
burnout,
creative burnout.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks so much, Ghostmac, for coming on. Where can people find, your work and
Spotify, SoundCloud, TikTok, Amazon, YouTube,
everything,
Twitter, Facebook, Ghostmac400. Sometimes Twitter and all that, not like Spotify, like to fuck around and not put me up. So just look up Mac400 and I'll come up. And yeah, soon you won't be able to lose where I am. So
yeah, and stay tuned for the performance at the Jargon event. Stay tuned for the new single. Yeah. Ghostmac's coming up. Stay tuned. Yeah. Thanks again, man.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you having me.
Peace out, guys. Thanks for listening.
The way you throw it back can make you go pro. Want me to rewind shit, put that in slow mo. The way I murder this beat, bitch, go to popo.
I just had to let it run a little bit.
Yeah.
This is sick. This is, by the way, this is Ciroc.
Yeah. Shout out Diddy.
Ciroc better send you a check.